Hello, friends. I'm just trying to get everything finalized. So bear with me as I get my charging cord all untangled. Let's see. There we go. All right. If you guys are stopping by, drop a quick comment to say hello. Like I said, I apologize regarding my last minute hooking everything up for my phone. I've been making an unfortunate habit of not charging my phone during my lives lately. It's no good. All right. Get my iPad ready to go. Let's see. You know what? We're doing pretty good with that. All right. Okay, if you guys are stopping by, drop a quick comment. Let me know you're here. I think we got a little bit of shadow from my scissors. Oh, you know, I keep overcompensating the wrong way. Just a little bit. There. All right, we're gonna leave it at that. That's actually kind of very good. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Hello. Thank you for joining today. All right. I think we're about good to go. It always drives me a little nuts when I can't get the grid straight, but that's all right. Ooh. Perfect. All right, y'all. So welcome. And oh my gosh, it is my first live in the Kindred Stamps fan club of 2023. So I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic weekend and a fantastic start to your year, of course, too. Today, we are going to be making a card using the Wild and Free stamp set, which is a really fun stamp set. I can't believe this one. I believe it's about 2 years old now. I want to say it got released in like spring of 2021, but we're going to be using this card with a couple products. Actually, it's a handful of products. Also available by Kindred Stamps, of course. And stay with me because we do have a great promo code for tonight that includes a lot of products. I think it's like 8 different things that you guys can get 20% off on. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our little archery heroine in this card. Of course, we're going to get her all colored up. But before we do that, I wanted to work on a little bit of the background for this card. So let's get started on that because we are going to get into a little bit of inking and splattering. So I'm going to get a mat just so I'm good to go. And we're going to start with this piece right here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, you know what? I think I'm going to do it like that. Perfect. And we're going to go ahead and get a sky ready to go using some blue-green distress oxides. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to drop a comment. Just let me know. And we're going to start with some salvage patina. And what we're going to do is, I think this one is going to be predominantly most of it because most of it's also going to be covered up. All right. So just like that. I'm going to flip it. That. And then we're gonna move on to the next color, which is peacock feathers. Of course, I'm gonna go back and forth a little bit. And yep. I love peacock feathers. I was trying to think of like a wintry sky blend, and I thought blue greens would kind of do the trick today. And I didn't want to keep it super dark because I wasn't going for a night sky, just more of like a snowfall sky. All right, so I decided on the blue greens. And as always, any questions, make sure to let me know. And you know what, we're gonna move this over just a wee little bit. All right. Next, we're gonna move on to some Uncharted Mariner, which is one of the newer colors. I believe it's not the newest, but like the second newest, because I think Lumberjack Plaid is the newest. But if you guys have been watching, there is a new distress color heading our way next week, and I believe it's getting announced a week from today. So that's exciting. Can't wait to see what it is. All right. Go in. Great. All right. So we've got this all situated. Let's do a little bit of bleach spots, of course, with some water. What size is the paper? Oh, so this is the square from our Card Basics die set. And I don't know exactly what size I would say it is. Let's go with, it is about 3.5 inches square, roughly. All right, so let's get some water splatters. This is gonna add some nice bleachedness. We'll use my Kindred craft towel just to pick it up. All right, get those nice bleach spots going. Of course, they show up a little better on those darker colors. That's okay. All right, so we're gonna set that off to the side, do a quick clean. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna ink blend a couple die cuts. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've got a light, like a lime green paper, and I've got a just standard green paper. And I went ahead, I first cut it with the stitch square from our Card Basics die set, and then I went in and I die cut it with the tree scene die and the graph scene die. And my thought with it is we're gonna, because I use the square, is we're gonna do some layering, but I'm gonna do some ink blending first, but it's gonna create like a nice little square scene, but these are gonna layer up really nicely. So we'll have a lot of fun with that. And it's really nice to use the same die as a base because I know these will all layer very nice on top of each other. So let's go ahead, let's start with the trees, and we're gonna start with the grass. And we're gonna use some mowed lawn. And I've got my little block. So let's go ahead and kind of gently blending up the bottom of the grass to make it a little bit darker. It's a really good way to distress your papers, give them a little bit of an extra dimension. It's that extra finished touch, of course. Perfect. All right, I love how this looks. See, it's got a really nice sort of distress look to it. And if you guys want, I like doing my shadows on the bottom. If you want to do them from the top, you can do them whatever which way your heart desires. So, all right, so let's go back and we'll do a quick wipe. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the Rustic Wilderness. Some of the excess. I like the Rustic Wilderness a lot. It's a nice, like, neutral green, which I would call it. Maybe it's slightly yellow, but it's more of just like a darker true green. It works really well with like natural colors. Oh my goodness. Just like that. See, it blends up nice and quick too. So, all right, so now we can work on getting some items layered. And then we're gonna do some splattering. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna do a quick wipe down of my surface, just to get a nice clean surface, minimize the amount of smudging, never eliminating, but minimizing. Go ahead, get some glue. And after we get this background situated, of course, we'll jump into our coloring. Ooh, where are my tweezers when you need them? It's okay. All right, I'm actually gonna move these up a little bit. All right. Perfect. And let's go in and get our grass situated. Yes, we're good. And of course, all the dyes that I'm using for today's live are going to be eligible for that 20% off promo code that I let you guys know. I'll go ahead and clue you guys into that in a little bit. But all right, so we've got this all situated. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna use my extra large acrylic block just to kind of press down and make sure everything is all good to go. Let me check and see if there's been any questions. Nope, we're all good. But if you guys have any, just let me know. All right. Now, you might be thinking, well, Justin, this just looks like a forest sky. How exactly are you gonna go ahead and make this wintry? And like I said, we're gonna get some splattering going. So I'm gonna start by just some sparkles. I've got some sparkle silk. This is by Fun Stamper's Journey or Spellbinders. I'll make sure to link all my products in my blog post when I'm done with my live. And this just gives you a nice, clear, glittery splatter look. Of course, I'm not gonna be done after this. I like to layer my splatters, different types of splatters. This is a really fun way to add some texture to your project and some shimmer. And this little bottle lasts you a long time. I got this in 2019 from Jen Gross. She gifted me this bottle when we met in person, and I just ordered a replacement. It should be on its way to me soon. I'm surprised I haven't got my shipping notification for that yet, but that is okay. And next I've got some white acrylic paint, and I'm just going to, I can honestly probably do it on here. Just a little bit, not too much. It's probably a little too much already, but that's okay. And we're gonna go ahead and, no, we don't wanna put that there. We're gonna get some water, just a little bit of water to make it flick easier. And my paintbrush. And we're gonna go ahead. I kinda like to do some taps off to the side, and then we'll do it right onto the project. And it's gonna look like snow. I always like to, anytime I'm like trying to transfer something to my project by a medium like a brush or a blending tool, I like to always dab it off first, because that first impression or expression of trying to get your paint splattered or your ink blended, there's always a very high chance it's gonna be splotchy and not what you want. So, all right. This is definitely pretty. All right, super, super awesome. Really fun way just to go ahead and add that to your project. We're gonna go ahead and clean this up. There's my tweezers. Let me grab a piece of copy paper. And we will set this aside to dry. Hopefully by the time we're done coloring, it's nice and dry. Otherwise, if not, I can always hit it with a heat tool. All right, we'll come back to that later. Let's do a little bit of cleanup. Got that acrylic paint up with this. Don't have too much ink blending left with this project. That was really the only ink blending portion, so I'm not really gonna need this matte too much. Let's get it all nice and clean. Just 'cause it's better to clean it now than when everything is dry. Ooh, see, I must have missed a little bit of ink. That's all right. All right, so let's go ahead, clean this up. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get into a little bit of coloring. All right, we'll zoom in a little bit so it's easier for you guys to see. I can always zoom in, but see, I have an issue when it comes to zooming out. But that's okay, we'll manage. So, all right. So I've got my little heroine. I'm gonna keep her on this mat, make sure it's nice and dry. Don't want any water issues. And put my rag off to the side. All right, let's color. So if anybody has any questions up until this point, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm just gonna, of course, jump into my coloring. So we're gonna start with some E04. And my rule of thumb when laying down the E04 for skin, it goes anywhere there would be a shadow, especially those harsh shadows. So it's definitely going to go along your hairline. That's what we're going to start with. And I am going to preface with you guys, I am going to try kind of a new hairstyle of coloring. This girl has the curliest hair. And when I colored her up, when I did her for the regular release, I just did it kind of like a straight sort of hairstyle is the way that I colored it. And I really wanted to try to capture those curls. So I did a little bit of research and I think I know what I need to do. So we're gonna try that together today. All right, so what's next? My E11. Hey Alyssa, no worries that you're a little late. Glad you can make it. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Going with that E11. And if you guys have caught one of my lives before, I just kind of call this my standard Caucasian blend. It's just your fair skin. I use it with a lot of my images. It's very standard in the world of Copic coloring to this blend I'm using. Some people might layer them a little differently. But this is kind of like the base. All right. Perfect. Next, we're gonna do some E21. One of my favorite things to do whenever I'm coloring up a human is the blush, which I'm not even at yet, but I'm already thinking about how I'm excited to give her some blush just because it really brings an image to life. I used to be very against doing blush because I was like, this isn't realistic. No one's cheeks are that red unless they're outside and they're cold, which is perfect for this card. But I mean, in general, I still understand where I was coming from until I started doing it more. And I'm like, oh, it really makes your image look warm and cozy looking. All right, going with some E00. So I highly recommend, if you guys have not tried adding blush yet, of course, get to a point where you feel comfortable with the kind of coloring that you're doing before you add in a new technique. But when you get to a point that you feel like you can add one in, I urge you guys to try adding in blush if you're not already. It's really gonna make your image go up to the next level. All right, let's go into E000. Hi, Lisa. Oh gosh, you're so sweet, thank you. Alyssa's excited to see the hairstyle. I struggle making curly hair. I kind of do too. So I'm hoping you guys are kind of forgiving with me today because we're gonna try. I watched a video of some technique earlier and I'm like, you know what? I think I get the gist of it. It may not be perfect, but we're gonna try. I'm also going to be coloring up her dress differently than I did for the release, which I'm sitting here talking like this release just happened like last month. No, this release was 2 years ago, but I was going through the stamp set and I realized I had like 3 images that I colored up and never used. And I was like, ooh, do I just use those for today's live? I'm like, no, we're going to do a color along, Justin. That's what most of us enjoy the most. So I was like, but we're going to do a different dress color. Go back with that E04. I have had a very crafty day today, and it's been my first like very heavily crafty day in a long time, especially because of the holidays. And I know I did a live with you guys on New Year's Eve. It was kind of funny too when I was doing my live on New Year's Eve. literally when I ended, I had friends on the way to spend the night with us, and they were like 15 minutes away. And I'm like, oop, just one thing after another, not complaining at all. Oh, I forgot to do her hand and her skin, like her neck area. But it's just been a lot going on, which is A-okay in my book. But I haven't had a bunch of time to sit down and craft. My husband last night was like, oh, maybe we'll go to the movie tonight or something. We're actually going to see a show tomorrow. So I was like, you know what? I was like, let's just be in tonight. I'll make dinner, maybe watch a movie, and then we'll have like all day tomorrow to be social. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, yay, Misty. I'm excited for you. Well, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you got your first order of, I think it's your first order of crafty goodies. If not, no big deal. But welcome, welcome to the group. I also will apologize in the back, in advance, if I bumble around at all grabbing anything around my desk. I am using, I got a new sort of desk layout that I'm trying for my lives, and I'm needing to adjust to make sure I know where everything is, but I have a little bit more space now, so it's really helpful. All right, let's go in with that blush I was talking about. We'll start with some R22. Start like over here. All right, and then we'll do some R20. And then we're gonna finish off her skin with some E000. That's okay, Kristen. I'm glad that you're using another stamp set. If this is a set you might be interested in, I do have a promo code to share with you after the live. Well, I'll share it during the live, where you guys can get 20% off the stamp set too. That'll be included in the promo code. And I've got a couple more comments. All right. This will probably be, so this live, I've got a really busy February. I'm actually going out of town, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it on for February, but I'll definitely try my best to be back for March. So if you guys are here, this might be my last one for about the next 2 months or so, but I'm always back. Right, we're gonna do some teeth. I've got some C4. I know it looks dark. It'll lighten up, don't worry. C2. To go and fix her skin with that one, but that's okay. C00. Yeah, let's go on with that colorless blender. And then I'll fix her skin. I just go back in with a little C4. All right, that'll all dry up. We'll be good to go with that. I'm not worried about it. Looks a little dark right now, but it always lightens up. Fix that around now. Perfect. All right. All right, let's dive into this hair. So, be patient with me. This is a new technique, but this is what I learned. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna lay down our lightest color layer. So I'm starting with YR12. kind of cover her hair entirely with it. You know, I'm not used to this method. I'm not used to like laying down a color first. It's just not my style when it comes to Copic coloring. I know a lot of people, that's what they recommend, is laying down your color first and then everything will move well on top of it. And I understand, but that's why I do my coloring twice. Oh goodness, you know what? Maybe I'll just lay down one color and let it be. Just one nice solid color layer of hair. I wouldn't do that to you guys, I promise. Let's be honest, I wouldn't do that to myself either. I can't tell though, just based off of this one color, I'm definitely on the right path of what I chose for her. All right. Okay, so we've got a solid layer of hair. Have you tried Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend? I have once, years ago. And I know a bunch of people love them, Lisa, absolutely. And I know that they're like foolproof, which is one of like the biggest draws about them. But I don't really use them that much. All right, so now we're gonna go with our next color. I have a YR15, which is pumpkin yellow. And what I was told to do is you just kind of go in and you add your squiggles. Just kind of squiggles. I've heard before, like you could do like a series of C's, like the letter C. But you're not gonna cover the whole thing with squiggles. Just think about the areas that you would add your next tone in. So anywhere you think that there'd be a highlight, you might not do a squiggle. All right, so we've got our squiggles of that one. Oh my goodness, this is a choice, Justin. All right. Now we're gonna go with some YR18. I can definitely see though how it's giving her hair that texture. All right. I'm being a little quiet. I'm just focusing on a new technique. All right, we're getting there. You know what though? It looks pretty good. Can you say that about your own image? Because I just did. Anyways, I'm not mad. All right, so we're doing E08 next. Definitely does look curly. It's just not a style I'm used to. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. One last color I've got E09 to add a little bit of like a red brown into it. Is that the color I want to finish with? Let me make sure. Do I want E09? We're gonna do E09. And realistically, I should be laying down the least of this one because this is the shadow. Oh, Michelle, thank you so much. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, I think. Oh, now I'm going to have a dog crying because she got locked out of the den. No, she left. There we go. All right. I want to just go back in and fix a little bit up there. But y'all, this is not that bad of a technique. Her hair definitely looks curly. And you can see the layer of colors with it. Huh. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, let's go in with a little bit. I'm gonna do some YR15 just to do. I'm very sorry about that. Someone just knocked on my door. All right. Hey, buddy. It's gonna take him a minute to settle down. I'm sorry, you guys. I should put a sign on my door. Do not knock. Facebook Live in progress. All right, let's go ahead and let's work on her dress next. So we're gonna do some B78. Thank you so much, Gwen. Oh, mine is he's like a 101-pound pit bull. His name is Duke. So it's funny that your Chihuahua and my pit bull have similar sounds when they bark. But I apologize, you guys. Some things are just out of your control, you know. I, of course, never want that to happen during a live, but it does sometimes, and that's okay. Thanks so much, Lisa. All right, next is BG75. Now there's kind of two, we'll call them, we're gonna, before I have an issue, this is a very juicy marker, so I'm gonna take both caps off. I'm gonna call it two traditional ways that you could color up this Scottish princess. You could color her up in blue-greens, or you could color her up in like deep, almost denim blues. We'll call them indigos maybe, I don't know. And I opted to go this blue-green route. Because I thought that it would be just pretty. In all honesty, I probably could have chosen a little bit more of a vibrant blue-green than this one. But I like it, it works. No complaints. All right, and then finish this with some BG70. And then also, her accents are gonna be gold for this dress. So that'll be a fun color to add in with the blue-greens. Sorry. So let me guys tell you, so while I'm coloring, let me get our promo code up, and I'll move this down just a little bit. So your promo code for today is gonna be January Justin. And it's going to get you 20% off of the following products. So, of course, you're going to get 20% off of the Wild and Free stamp set that I'm using right now and coloring up. It's also going to give you 20% off of the Merry and Bright paper pack, which you guys are probably like, Justin, Merry and Bright, it's January. Why are we using Christmas stuff? And I'm going to show you why. There's actually quite a bit in that pack that you can use year-round. Winnie, you gotta go lay down. Now my other dog would like to come in and bother me. So she might start whining. That's okay. Oh, you guys get the full dog experience today, and I'm very sorry. Oh, you don't even see the promo code. Let me move that off to the side. Yep, we're gonna do it like that. You are right, Gwen. Duke is just doing his job. He good boy. He protect me. You know, he doesn't really protect me, but he likes to think that he does. But yes, I live in a very pro-dog, pro-pitbull, pro-barking household. All the things. Love my pitties. BG75. And I will probably move the promo code sign that I wrote up for you guys shortly, but I'll bring it back out in a minute. Well, I say a minute, not really a minute, but oh, this is the juicy marker. All right. Go back to some BG72. And once I finish up the dress, I'll check and see if there's been any comments. If there hasn't, no big deal. Realistically, after the dress, it's just little accent pieces that have to be colored, nothing too major. I love this color, though. These BG7s are just perfect. Gorgeous. All right, let's check for comments. Nope, we're good. All right, we're gonna keep going then. Let's work on the gold accents. We're gonna start with some YR27. I'm gonna do some, just kind of where it would be darkest. Just like that. All right, next color is YR27. Actually just realized I used the wrong golds, but that's okay. AOIR21. Maybe I'll just color this once. Just like that. Perfect. And then let's work on, we're gonna do her shoes and belt area. So we're gonna do some E47. Do her little arrow satchel. Next, E44. And some E42. I didn't grab a color for the tails of the arrows, so I'll have to go in and grab something for that, but I'm not worried about it. Thinking maybe some blues would be pretty. I know red's kind of traditional, but I think that would kind of throw out my vibe. All right. Do E44. And E42. I actually need to go in really quickly and grab something for a little part of her hand that I missed. That was E11. All right, let's do her arrow. Her bow, actually, not the arrow. Gee whiz. Do some E57. E55. I just do this once. E53. Just because the area is so small. All right. Grab a little bit of blue. What blue? Oh, I want some. Where's my B34? That's what I want. There. B34 and 37. All right, so this is B37. Down like that. And then B34. All right, she is all done. So I just got to do a little bit of touch up with a gel pen. All right, perfect. I don't need you. Oh, you went in the wrong spot. No, you went in the right spot. All right, let's get my gel pen just to fix my little area. Just went out of bounds a little bit over there. And that's okay. Hello, Heather. Hope you're having a good Saturday. All right, so she's all colored up. So let's go ahead, we'll fussy cut her out. If you guys have done a live with me before, you know that this is like one of my favorite parts of my live when I'm fussy cutting, because I'm always like, if you've got any questions, this is like one of the few times ever that I'm able to multitask. So let me know what your questions are. They can be related to this card. They can be related to Kindred Stamps. They could be related to just crafting in general. I always like to chit chat with you guys, with y'all. I say guys, you know, and I feel badly sometimes because, of course, that rarely encompasses most people in a crafting crowd. But it's just kind of like a slip. Habit of speech or something. And I keep moving my finger forward just because I don't know if it's a Facebook update or what, but on my iPad, it doesn't automatically feed me comments when they come in. I have to refresh the screen. Misty says, I have a hard time coloring with alcohol markers. Any tips? So one of the things with alcohol markers that I think a lot of people talk about is that your paper has to be saturated with ink to get the blends that you want. So, and usually you need to use at least, people might disagree with me. I know some people say that if you're starting off with alcohol markers, you can be like, oh, you can get 2 markers and that'll give you enough to get a blend. And you will get a blend out of it, but I don't think a lot of what you see out there is 2 marker blends. So you're gonna not really get, I don't think, the immediate results you want, but you can work towards them. But I say start practicing with 3 color blends. Lay down the lightest color first. I start from lightest to dark, and I would start that way. Now the other thing, because I have colored a lot with people out in the world, and you guys are always so gracious in giving me compliments, and a lot of people I've talked to get down on themselves because they're like, well, how, like, you're so good. And first and foremost, this is not me complimenting myself. This is just me going based off of what I've heard from other people and not necessarily what I even believe myself sometimes, because sometimes even I get a little frustrated with my coloring. But you guys always got to remember that if you want to get good at something, you got to practice. I have been coloring with Copic markers since early 2019. So I've had my Copic markers for about 4 years now. And just think, like, anytime I do a Facebook Live with you guys, anytime you see me with projects for a release, there's always images colored up with Copic markers. And that's just more and more practice. And you just got to keep going and keep being open to new ideas and new techniques. And just keep growing. Understand you start somewhere and everybody does. And then, hey, if you're happy with what you're outputting, that's fine. And then you're good. But there's always room for growth and learning something new. So that's where I would say, Misty. But I would say, I mean, practice and start with a 3 color blend. Oh, Spectrum Noirs, any recommended paper? So I don't really color with the Spectrum Noirs, but if they're alcohol markers, so I feel like anything that works for Copic should realistically work from Spectrum Noir as well. I use Copic Express It paper. That's what I use predominantly. I know a lot of people in the crafting world also use the Nina Classic Crest Solar White in 80-pound paper. I know that's a very, very popular choice. So there's the Copic Express It paper. There is the, like the Nina that I just told you about, the Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound. There is also, let me see if I can find it, because I have some. Ah, so sorry. There is another paper by Hammermill, and it's the Hammermill Premium Color Copy Cover, 100 brightness, 100 pound, which I know is a mouthful. So I'll say it again, and I'll say it slowly. And that's not what I'm using for coloring right now. This is the Copic Express It. It's Hammermill Premium Color Copy Cover. It's 100 brightness and 100 pound. And it's not that expensive when I bought it. Now, mind you, when I bought it was like 2 years ago, and it's lasted me a long time. But it's whenever I have digital stamps, it's what I use because it was so cheap. I don't get upset if the printer eats it up. But it works really well. It works nicely. It's just not my go-to. I like my Express It paper. But I would say those 3, the Hammermill, the Nina, and the Copic Express It paper. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start putting our card together. So I've got, is this dry? Ooh, it is dry, yay. And see, it looks like a little snowy scene. But what I did do is I've got this piece of like this emerald glitter paper that I cut, and I wanted to use it as a little bit of a frame around the image just to give it a little sparkle. And I'm going to use a tape runner instead of a liquid adhesive, just because I don't love gluing on top of glitter paper. It doesn't always catch liquid glue for me very well. So let's go ahead, let's layer this just to give a little bit of a trim. All right. You see, it doesn't even grab this that well, but we'll get there. And I'm really more of a fan. I use liquid adhesive whenever I can because it's so forgiving. You can like move your images around, which I love. For whatever reason with this tape runner, I can also move around on this glitter paper, which is a little strange, but okay. It's the glitter paper, y'all, though. It's just, it happens. All right, so let's take my, where's my big block? Oh, phooey. There it is. See, it's clear and I couldn't find it. So I'm just gonna press this down like that. All right, and then I wanna work on my sentiment. So I've got a piece of this blue, like this teal cardstock, we'll call it teal. And I wanna do some heat embossing. So I've got my Misty, and I'm gonna go ahead, let's see, we're gonna put it like this. And you guys know me, I like to also fussy cut my sentiments. So that's what I'm gonna be doing a little bit of today, and that's all right. So I've got one of my sentiments all ready to go on the sentiment strip dies, and it's fly free like an arrow, but I wanna just do this happy birthday. And we'll fussy cut that one out on this. So let's go ahead, add that in like that. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna cut it out. And all right. Then I've got my embossing tool that I like to use. And let's go ahead. I've got my Kindred Stamps embossing ink pad. And if you guys don't have this one already, I mean, I understand you may have another embossing pad, but this one has lasted me a very long time. I got this when Audra started carrying the embossing powders in the first place, and this is still my original one. I did order a replacement like a month or two ago, and it's still wrapped in plastic behind me. I thought this one was drying up, but it's really not. So I'm gonna use this as much as I possibly can. So I've got my happy birthday. And set this off to the side. And let's do some heat embossing. So I've got my little catcher for my paper. And we're gonna use Snowfall embossing powder, one of my favorites and my go-to. All right. So let's really quickly put this back. And I know some people use coffee filters. Some people have little funnels. I just use, I call it crummy paper. It's like not great cardstock, but I want to find a use to it for it because I bought it instead of just like not using it. All right, so let's go ahead. Perfect. All right, and I will tell you guys, that Snowfall embossing powder is really good. It works really well, especially if you're using like an embossing tool with it to not get any sort of static. I always get such a good impression with it, and I'm always like, just surprised because like I love it. So I don't know. It's such a staple in my craft space. So let's go ahead, we'll wipe this off, and we'll fussy cut around it. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna actually do like a rough cut first and then use that so I can kind of more easily navigate myself around this stuff. just have really become so accustomed as well to fussy cutting sentiments out, especially if they're bolder. I just think it really gives a fun effect for your projects. All right. Perfect. All right, we've got our happy birthday all ready to go. Now we can work on putting elements of the card together. So I have this piece from the Merry and Bright paper pack, and I cut it a little smaller than my white card base. I've really been digging lately using my card base as like a white frame for my project. So that's what I'm doing today. And this is what's on the other side, which is still a gorgeous print. It just doesn't, it doesn't fully fit what I want to do today, but honestly, it pulls in a lot of colors from her too. So you could use either side, but I like just the green. Let's go ahead, use our tape runner. All right. So let's see. Let's get this all lined up. Now, my last Facebook Live, green was the color I had to use for most of my project. Oh, it was Halloween colors is what it was. And I chose green because the paper pack I was using the, what was it, Ghoul Squad, Boo Crew? I think it's called Boo Crew, but it was released the same time as the Ghoul Squad stamp set. So we've got that. And then I want to just kind of lay this out first. I'm trying to think on how I want to do this. I'm thinking like that. All right. So now we'll get some liquid glue. Excuse me. All right. Do that a little off to the side. Get some water. Oh yes, Alyssa. I was gonna do it today. I changed my mind at the last minute just because I knew I wasn't gonna have the prep time for it. But I definitely want to do that. Again, it was going to be today, like I said, but I think the next live I do will be another choose your own crafty adventure. I think I had a lot of fun. I know you guys did too. So I think that'll be a fun thing to keep up with and keep things fresh, you know? All right. Let's do another piece. I might even come up with another way to do it where it's like, maybe y'all just pick for me what to do and I just wing it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm so glad you guys loved it. That makes me so happy. All right, so we're gonna put our little heroine right here. Just kind of off a little bit. And then we're gonna do, I think, the happy birthday like up here. But I'm trying to think if I wanna layer this. Because I think I do, where it's like that. Okay, I think I know what I want to do. You just got to do it. I don't know, maybe the next time I do one, maybe I'll ask you guys for advice for stamp sets or anything you might want to see that I can throw in as options. I'll figure it out, I promise. Now what I want to do is I want that happy birthday to look like it's sitting on top of the banner, like a unit. Ooh, you know what? That's pretty good. I like that a lot. Let's push it down. Oh, thank you so much, Shamia. All right. let's go ahead. I also like whenever I'm layering any sort of like cut images and I'm adhering them together, whenever I use foam tape with them, I like the foam tape to overlap like the seam areas just because it gives me a little extra assurance that like the things are glued together. So let's see. So we're gonna do, I think like right there. And I know the card isn't like screaming, oh, it's winter, like this is all about like snow, but this is a great card for anybody who's got a birthday between like December and March, probably particularly March too, because March is a little snowy and this card is very green. So all right, so we've got that, but I pulled a couple embellishments from my stash and I was wondering what you guys might want to see. I've got some gold holographic discs. These are from Studio Katya. I've got, this is from Sparkle Blends. Sparkle Blends is no longer around, but it's a set called Summer Storm. It's got some fun embellishments in there. And then I've also got some clear iridescent drops by Pink Fresh Studio. Didn't know if you guys had a preference for one that you might want to see, and then I can use that. I'm kind of leaning towards the Sparkle Blend because there's some blue and green bits in there that I think will work really well, but I'm just curious what you guys are thinking. So let me know what your thoughts are. We'll make sure to get it all put together. Otherwise, I'll just pick one. Because I want to do a couple up here, a couple down here, just kind of even everything out a bit. All right, let's see. I'm going to count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, 1. No comments, so we're going to stick with this. And, Kristen, you know what, Kristen? We'll use that one. That's fine. All right, we've got 2 iridescent ones, so we're gonna go in with that. I always use iridescent too, you guys. You have good taste. All right, so let's go in, add a couple bits. Eek. Some of these are teeny tiny, but that's okay. That one's not gonna flip over for me. It's okay. I default to iridescent embellishments all the time. All the time. I love these clear drops like this. They're just so pretty. All right, let's see. I always like to lay them first and then glue them down. And honestly, if anyone has a question, how do you pick where they go? I just know I try to work in the rule of threes the best I can, but sometimes I don't even do that. I've got no rhyme or reason half the time. I just kind of be like, you know what? But I think it works. Do one more little one just right down here. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get these placed. Where is my tool? Okay, y'all, I know I brought a tool over here to pick this up with, and I feel like I'm gonna turn my head and it's gonna be sitting on my desk. Oh my goodness, where did you go? Well, I know where there's an extra one. I didn't want to break out my extra one. All right, so let me get my little tool picker out. All right, I always use liquid glue with these. And the rule of thumb is, don't use a lot of glue. Doesn't need that much. it's stuck to my finger. It's okay. My hand, rather. All right. All right, you guys. We have it all put into place. I love the way that it looks. And I'm trying to put the pin in my glue in it. So it almost fell to the ground. All right, so let me put my promo code back out and we'll go over what exactly we put together. Thank you guys so much. All right, so I'm gonna put my code back out and we'll go over it because this is everything that we use for this card. So of course we use the Wild and Free stamp set. That's where our image came from. That's where our sentiment came from. And we also use the Merry and Bright paper pack. That is where that snowflake background came from, just to kind of carry the snowflakes from the little scene that we made onto the pattern paper as well. For our little scene, we did use that tree scene craft die and grass scene craft die. We also used some snowfall embossing powder and the embossing ink pad to make our sentiment, which the lower half was also cut with the sentiment strip die. And finally, we did use our card basic set to help build that little square area for the scene. I always like to call it like a partial scene card because it doesn't take up the full card, but I love the way that it looks. So that's the card that we made today. I think it turned out pretty good. I know we used a new coloring technique. I'm going to have to practice with it a little bit more, but you know what? Her hair definitely looks wild and curly, and I guess that's really kind of the point. So thank you guys all so much for being here. I promise I will get this up in a blog post for y'all. I'm trying for today. I have a handful of things going on, so I will try my best. If not today, by tomorrow, I promise. Oh my gosh, thank you, Gwen. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Lisa and Misty and Alyssa and Kristen. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. I'll make sure also when I publish my blog post to throw this in there. I know Audra typically does it for, I think it's 24 hours. I'm going to say if you guys want to order this, order it by the end of the day today. Order it by like midnight Pacific time today, but I feel like it should be at least 24 hours, so realistically you should be good tomorrow as well. But thank you guys so much for being here. I had a fantastic time with y'all. Like I said, I probably will not be doing a live in February, but I will try my best to be back in March, and we'll do another Choose Your Own Crafty adventure. I am going to commit to it for you guys. We will do it then. We'll come up with some fun ideas. I really want, you know what, I'm probably going to throw that Fairy Tale Town stamp set into the mix for it because I really want to make something with that. So thank you guys so much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and stay crafty. Bye.